you're going to find people in your organization that can technically be pretty good at anything, but they're going to be very good at what they're excited about. Hi, my name's Devin. Today I own several multi-million-dollar companies. We started with $5,000 in a credit card. I don't know the easy way. I only know the hard way. Hey everyone, welcome to the Whiteboard Entrepreneur Podcast, where I give straightforward advice to fuel the entrepreneur in all of us. Today I want to talk to you about making sure that the people within your organization are in the right position for them. And as a leader, this is one of the primary jobs that we have. It's right, like evaluating our staff, putting them in the right positions, evaluating them correctly, encouraging them, training them. And this is really apparent in the sports world. So I'm also a coach along with a business leader. But as a coach, it's pretty apparent, right? Like if you have a defensive person in an offensive role or vice versa, or you have a wing in the center mid, right? It's like, it just doesn't fit. And you look at them and go, wow, they're very talented, but they're just not succeeding. And it's pretty obvious from a coaching standpoint. It's like, oh, because this person's a defender, not a forward, or vice versa. And so we can see it super clearly in the sports world. Sometimes it's not as clear in the professional world, but really great leaders spend time evaluating the people that they have on their team and making sure that they're doing the right job and putting them in the right position. And this is a little more difficult in the professional world. Obviously in the sports world, things are pretty apparent, right? Like you can tell from speed, size. There's different tells that kind of are telltale signs. However, in the professional world, sometimes you have people who are, moderately talented and can do a lot of different things moderately well. But the trick is finding out what they're built for, what they're really made for, what gets them excited, and where they can thrive within the organization. And for me, there's been a lot of things I've learned over the years to help us do better at this. The first, and you can go back to some of these other episodes when we talk about how to hire well. The best way to start to hire well is actually to have a very clear job spec for the position that you're trying to fill. And then making sure that when you interview, you don't interview to see if you like the person as much as you're interviewing to make sure that that job spec fits the person. And so that helped me along the way to make sure that the people that I have that I'm hiring and I'm putting in positions are hopefully, not only qualified for that, but get excited about that role and really fit that role well. However, sometimes we already have people within our organization that we've kind of bounced them around a little bit. And especially if you're kind of a new entrepreneur, you're going to find a lot of times that the people that you hire tend to be more of like a Swiss Army knife, like a jack of all trades, right? Like the people that you hire when you're a smaller organization tend to be people that can do a little bit of everything, which is awesome. And it's really what you need. If you're, under 20 organization, you need people to wear a lot of different hats day in and day out, right? Like the job that they're doing tomorrow might not be the same job that they're doing today. And so you need versatility. But as your organization grows, you start to become more specialized in the roles and responsibilities within those organizations. And so if someone's been with you for quite a while, they may have bounced around in lots of different roles. And now as your organization is growing, you need to decide like, hey, what's their specialty? What do they do well at? And I've been frustrated over the years because I've had a lot of people that I have really, really thoroughly enjoyed working with and love their attitude and think, they come in and give their best every day. They're the type of person that you want to retire at your company. You have this emotional bond with them. You're like, you feel like you shed blood together, sweated together, been in the trenches together. But maybe right now, like you're like, man, but they're just not performing. And this happens, like I said, when you've had people with you for a while and the organization has grown and they're not like quite doing what you would expect them to do, or they're not fulfilling the needs and the roles that you need them to fulfill. I was talking with a mentor of mine, sharing them this problem that I've had, people within my organization that have this incredible attitude and great ability, but they're just not performing. And he said, Devin, he goes, I'm going to tell you, he goes, I've struggled with this myself. And he said, he actually keeps this a little comic strip, and he keeps it posted right by his computer. And he says, it's as simple as like a Far Side cartoon, right? And he said, it's just a simple little comic strip where a guy's looking down at a cat, pointing at the cat saying, bad dog, bad dog. And it was like, it's just so simple, right? Because he goes, Devin, I've done this. He goes, I've been frustrated with people because they're not performing the way I want them to perform, but they're not built for that role. And he said, the problem isn't them. The problem is you, Devin. The problem is you. You have to be able to identify that this is a cat, not a dog, and you have to put them in a cat type of role. And if you don't have a cat type of role, well, then you need to have some honest, hard conversations with this person and, maybe help them on to the next point in their career. But really, he emphasized that great leaders are really good at identifying people's strengths in the roles that they can get excited about and where they can sink their teeth into. And it's very dangerous. And this might be you. There's a lot of really hardworking people out there. And there's a lot of really hardworking people out there that have a good degree of talent kind of across the board. And you bounce them around and you've never given them a chance to determine what their specialty is, what they get excited about. And so, they never get to really thrive. And that's difficult when we have people in those type of roles because you can tell they're trying, you can tell they have talent, right? And they might even be checking the box, right? But they're just giving you B- work and you need A+ work. And you're getting frustrated with that person saying, bad dog, but actually they're a cat. And so whether, and if you think about this kind of going back to the start of this podcast where we talked about really great coaches is not necessarily about the X and O's. Really great coaches are the people that find the talent, identify the talent, motivate the talent, and put the talent into the best suited role for them. And that's what we do not only as coaches on the field, but as leaders in the business place. And this is difficult for us to do because a lot of times you're just heads down doing your day job. You're not taking time to look around and saying, where are my people at? Where are they thriving? Where are they succeeding? And so there's a lot of things that you can do, and maybe you can even encourage your HR folks to do. And some of them I'm going to list off right now. One of the great things to help people identify where their talents and skills are is simply skills testing and behavioral testing, right? Like there's lots of different tests online on the internet. I'm doing this right now for my kids. They're about to go off to college. They're trying to decide a major. I'm having them take some tests, right? See what gets them excited, not just what they're good at, right? And that's what I really want to get a pound home here. You're going to find people in your organization that can technically be pretty good at anything, but they're going to be very good at what they're excited about. And so when you can have them take these personality tests, these skills tests, and see where they're, they really get excited and where they really thrive. And like I said, you're going to find, hey, they could do a lot of things, but this is what gets them going. This is what gets their juices going. And when you cross talent with excitement and you put them in that role, that's when you're going to get the best out of them. That's when they're going to go and their B- work is going to go to A+ work overnight. But it takes time, right? Like I said, you have to test them. The other thing that you can do is 360 reviews, right? We do these with virtually all of our leaders and future leaders within our company. We do it religiously every single year. And it's incredibly important not only to get feedback, but also to see what gets them excited and what other people see their skills are. Not just like what they need to work on, but have other people call out what they've excelled at and see what other people think like, hey, you know what? I put them on this project in marketing and oh my gosh, I was amazed at some of the work that they did for us, right? And getting that 360 feedback where other people, how they see you, right? Because a lot of times as a leader, you hired them for something or you've only known them in one role. And it's not until someone else points out, like, because you've been seeing them, through this tunnel of what you believe they were. And it's not until someone else, kind of shatters that and gives it a full view of this person's potential, that you can actually understand them better. And as your organization grows, you need to do this constantly, right? This is not a one and done. It's not even a one and done for each individual person. It's an ongoing evolution, because you might say finally, like, hey, I put them in marketing and that's great. Now, check the box, they're good. But as your company grows, you're going to find out what they're actually good at within marketing, right? Because it's not just marketing, it's, content, all of these different parts that might even get them more excited within that particular division that they're in. And so this is a constantly evolving process. Just like as a coach, you're constantly evolving. You go, you know what? This person, you're a football coach, you go, this person's on defense. Okay, great. That's awesome. Well, what position within defense? Oh, you know what? They're a linebacker. Well, what kind of a linebacker? You know what? After looking at them more, they're a middle linebacker or an outside linebacker, all of these different positions, right? And as they evolve and as they grow, you're going to see what gets them excited, where they excel and where they fail. And when you have someone that's motivated, like, and faithful to your company, that's your job. Their job is to come in and give their best every day. Your job is to get the best out of them by putting them in the right position for the company. We've talked about a lot of different things here, and we've talked about it as being a leader and the person that's making these calls. But listen, if you're listening to this right now, you might be that person. Like, you might be the person that's like, man, I feel like I'm just not really succeeding at the company or the position that I'm in. And you're feeling bad about yourself, and your self-esteem is getting beat down, and you're, expecting to be getting promoted, and really you're just kind of like static and you're not going anywhere. And maybe you're not even excited about your job. And all of these should be telltale signs for you that, hey, it might not be your work ethic. You might be working super hard and giving everything that you have, but you're in the wrong position, right? And so don't wait for your supervisor to come to you. Maybe you do your own test. Maybe you go and, figure out, maybe you do your own 360 evaluation. Maybe you pull people in the room and say, hey, what do you think I do well at? What do you think I succeed at, right? Talk to people who know you really well. Look at your results when you've won versus when you've lost. Go and, like I said, take these online tests and see what gets you excited, right? And you might have to go and look at yourself and say, hey, I need a positional change within this company. Maybe you need a career change. Maybe you need to change majors. Maybe you need to have a refocus, right? So this isn't just for the leaders, but this is for the individuals, because you're going to be excited. You're going to want to put in 30 plus years of hard work when you're in the right seat on the right bus, right? And I think that's the expression that Jim Collins uses all the time. And so I stole it from him. Just, Jim, shout out to you. But hey, this is, like I said, I go back all the time whenever my leaders come to me and say, hey, I'm really having an issue with Billy. I'm really having an issue with Susan. The first thing that I tell them is that cartoon, right? I say, hey, I'm not saying you're not having an issue, but let's make sure that we're not saying bad dog to something that's actually a cat. And so there's a lot to kind of unpack here, not only from a leader perspective, but also from anyone who's within your organization perspective. So I want you to think about this. Like, even if you feel satisfied with what you're doing, let me encourage you, go online, take some of these tests. Half of them are free anyways, right? It will help you become more self-aware. It'll help you understand what you get excited about, where your talents lie, and where really you should continue to invest and see growth for your future career. I'm Devin, and this is the Whiteboard Entrepreneur Podcast, and I know this will help you.